So good morning, future officers. A warm welcome to all of you in the today's session on EduTap. So guys, once again, a warm welcome to all of you in the today's CT 360 series session in which we cover the most important GNDSI current affairs from the exam point of view. Let me tell you, my dear friends, that in these sessions, we cover the most important news articles from the various newspaper resources. For example, one of the very important is PIB, then Economic Times, then we have The Hindu, and some other important newspapers as well. So now, let me tell you that today we will be discussing the most important news articles from 14th to 15th of January 2025. So if you are preparing for RBI, NABARD or SEBI or any other banking exam, then again this session is really going to be very helpful for all of you. Now if I am audible and visible to all of you, please give me a thumbs up in the chat box so that we can start with the today's session. I believe कि आपने हमारे पुराने सेशंस को देखा है, उनको रिवाइज भी किया है. And if you're someone who has not yet started your preparation, guys, so make sure that you are starting with your preparation very soon, and from today itself start your current affairs preparation because it plays a very important role in your selection in these examinations. Okay? Now when I talk about the topics that we are going to cover in the today's session, so that includes UDISE plus report, National Turmeric Board, C. and IIT Delhi Science MOU, and other important news articles. Right? So let's move to the very first topic, that is UDISE plus report, which stands for Unified District Information System for Education plus report, and this report has been released for two different timelines, that is from 2022-23 to 23-24. So these are the timeline for which this report has been released. So guys, let me tell you that India is presently having one of the largest education structure across the world, as we are having around 14 lakh schools in our country, right? And around 24 crore students are studying there and 98 lakh teachers are there. So that is why it is very, very important that we are managing the whole data of all the schools in our country. And apart from that, we are also able to basically assess the different parameters, because we are also having the one of the largest human resource capital, right, at present in the world. So guys, that is why this particular report has been released to assess the schools across the different parameters. For example, what is the gross enrollment ratio is there, what is the pupil to teacher ratio is there. So all these parameters are being catered by this particular report. Now when I talk about this report, so this report is released by the Department of School Education and Literacy, and it is under the Ministry of Education. So Ministry of Education के अंदर आता है Department of School Education and Literacy, and it has released this particular report for 22-23 and 23-24. Now guys, let me tell you that काफी सारे students का concern था that sir please only speak in English during the sessions. So guys, being very frank, I have taken the feedback from other students as well. So do not worry, there will not be any single data that I will be missing in the English part, right? I will be switching to Hindi to make it more easier for some students who are basically from the Hindi background, right? So I will make sure that every important information will be delivered to you in English as well. Okay, I hope this is clear. So now guys, when we talk about this particular report, it basically gathers the data from all the recognized schools, be it the government school, government aided school, private school or the others, and we cover from pre-primary to class 12. So the students from pre-primary to the class 12 are being covered under the UDISE plus report, and we are covering all the different kind of schools, which includes government, government aided and the private schools, right? So now, before moving ahead onto the key findings of this report and what exactly this report tells us, so guys, let me tell you, first let us try to understand some historical background of this particular report. So this was for the very first time launched in year 2012-13, as it is really very important, as I told you that there are around 14 lakh schools in our country. So it is very important to gather the data about them. So that's why what we did is, from all the elementary and secondary education of all these schools, we basically collected all the data and we make it into the UDISE. Now to enable the seamless information exchange, guys, so after that what we did is, so that the exchange of information is really quick and a seamless process is there, so that's why we come up with the UDISE plus report, which was developed with the reference year of 2018-19. Now guys, we all know that in 2020 we got the national education policy. Can you guys tell me in the chat box that under whose who was the chairman of that particular committee which basically framed the National Education Policy 2020. तो NEP 2020 को लॉन्च किया गया, राइट? उस टाइम पर बेसिकली यहां पर हमने एक मेजर चेंज किया. Earlier we were taking the data of the schools, but now we are collecting the data and we are focusing on individual students. See, काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है. पहले स्कूल वाइज डेटा था, अब हम उसको यहां पर स्टूडेंट वाइज डेटा पे आ गए हैं. ठीक है, फोकस हम कर रहे हैं हर एक इंडिविजुअल स्टूडेंट पे. So you can see here that post national education policy, this report has introduced a focus on individual student data, and that is why, guys, it is the very first time that we have come up with such kind of data. That's why this report becomes incomparable with the reports of the previous editions, right? So a very important point. I hope that you will be able to retain this part. So these are the changes that we have made. Let me tell you guys that till even now, the UDISE plus, basically it collects the data from all the states and union territories except there are 2 states, right? One of them is West Bengal, the other one you have to tell me in the comment section. तो ये आपको identify करना है. One of them is West Bengal and the other one is, you have to tell me in the chat box. ठीक है, आप identify कीजिएगा. This is the homework for all of you. So basically, apart from these 2 states, which basically provides the data through its management information system, the other states are, in the other states, all the schools which are having the UDISE plus code and they're affiliated to it, to CBSE, so they are basically providing the data under this particular report. Okay, I hope this part is clear. Now let's move on to the other important point. Apart from that, National Education Policy 2020 has also restructured the pedagogical structure of our educational infrastructure in our country, which is basically having foundational, which includes pre-primary and primary classes, then preparatory, which includes partly primary, then middle, which is having upper primary, then secondary, which is having secondary and higher secondary. So these are the different levels, and hence we have reclassified this into the new pedagogical and curricular structure from year 23-24. Now we will be covering the important details across these new pedagogical structure only. ठीक है, तो अगर हम बात करते हैं सबसे पहला इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट, व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट द डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स, आई टोल्ड यू दैट देयर आर अराउंड 24 crore स्टूडेंट्स व्हिच आर देयर इन द स्कूल एजुकेशन सिस्टम, राइट? So guys, when I talk about the percentage of distribution of students across these categories, so the highest is basically 27%, right, in the preparatory phase. Then we are having 26% in the secondary phase. Then we are having 25% in the middle, and then we are having 22% in the foundational. Okay, so this is the whole distribution of students across all these new pedagogical structures. Now when we talk about when we distribute the students among their social category, तो social category wise अगर हम देखते हैं तो यहाँ पर you can basically see here that 45% of the students are from the general category, right? Sorry, they are from the OBC. And 27% are from the general category. Then 18% is from the SC. And the remaining are from ST, that is 10%. So this is the distribution. तो यहाँ पर maximum कौन से हैं? OBC students are there, right? Apart from that, when we talk about the percentage distribution of students by education level, तो यहाँ पर सबसे ज़्यादा किस में थे? 27% in the preparatory. तो यहाँ पर maximum students का आप एक बार डेटा याद रख सकते हैं, ठीक है? That is 26%, and अगर हम यहाँ देखें maximum number of students are from OBC category, that is 45% of the students are from OBC category in the school education system. Now guys, moving ahead to this particular part, so we all know that we are Indians, right? And we are having our unique identities, and in India, UIDAI is responsible for providing the unique identification number to every individual. And what is that? That is Aadhaar number, right? And recently we have covered that there is a new Chief Executive Officer of UIDAI. Can you guys tell me in the comment section what is the name of that person? So if you are not able to remember, let me tell you that the name of the person was Bhuvnesh Kumar, who is the new CEO of Unique Identification Authority of India. Okay, ji? So basically, when we talk about Aadhaar seeding among enrolled students, the students who are there in the school education system, who have enrolled themselves into the schools, So basically the national average is 79.4%. That means 79.4% of the students are having their Aadhaar cards. Now when we talk about the highest states and UTs and the lowest states and UTs, so you can see here among the highest part it is 99% in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, where all the students, majority of the students have Aadhaar numbers. Then Lakshadweep with 98.9%, Andhra Pradesh with 98.1%. So please try to remember these top 3 highest states with the Aadhaar seeding among enrolled students, where Andaman and Nicobar Island is on the top. ठीक है, इसके बाद आता है lowest states and UTs. So here Meghalaya is at the bottom, you can see, with 24.18% only. Bihar having 38.8% and Manipur 51.8%. That means there's a lot to do फॉर द आधार नंबर्स की जो प्रोविजन है वो हमें प्रोवाइड करनी है ऐसे स्टूडेंट्स को जो इन स्टेट्स के अंदर हैं. तो दैट मीन्स यूआईडीआई को वहां पर एक अच्छी खासी एक्सरसाइज करने की अभी जरूरत है. ठीक है, तो ये है डेटा हमारा यूडीआईएससी प्लस रिपोर्ट से, दैट हैज बीन लॉन्च फॉर 2022, 23 एंड 23, 24. तो याद रखिए अंडमान निकोबार आइलैंड्स 99% हाईएस्ट, लोवेस्ट किसका है? मेघालय का है 24.18%. तो बताओ याद रहेगा आपको? चैट बॉक्स के अंदर बताइए मुझे. राइट, so this is the right answer guys. Now let's move on to the next part. So we know that we are having around 14 lakh schools, but whether we are able to utilize them properly, whether we are underutilizing them or they are overutilizing them. So there can be 3 scenarios, right? First thing is underutilization, then optimal utilization, and then overutilization. I told you that there are around 14 lakh schools. ठीक है, and 24 crore students are there, around 24 crore students. तो आप definitely देख सकते हो that there might be some imbalance as well. So what exactly it is, let us try to understand as per UDISE plus report. So you can see here guys that underutilization of the school. The first point, underutilization. So the states, that is UP, MP, Assam, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, Himachal, Jammu and Kashmir, Uttarakhand and Rajasthan. So they are having more schools available as compared to the number of children which are studying in those schools. That means they are underutilized. We are having the schools, but we are not having the proper enrolled students, proper appropriation or the amount of students who have enrolled to the school. Right? So this is underutilization of the schools. ठीक है, जहां पर स्टूडेंट्स इतने नहीं हैं as compared to the number of schools. और स्टेट्स का नाम आपको गिवन है यूपी, एमपी, तो सभी स्टेट्स का नाम याद नहीं रखना, कुछ 1-2 स्टेट्स का नाम याद रखिए. राइट, क्योंकि गाइस आप देख सकते हो काफी सारी स्टेट्स हैं, तो इन सभी का नाम हम याद रख नहीं पाएंगे. बट हाँ, हम एक मेजर चीज याद कर सकते हैं, हम देख सकते हैं दैट देयर आर मोर स्कूल्स अवेलेबल देन द परसेंटेज ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स एनरोल्ड. मतलब कि काफी स्टेट्स ऐसी हैं जहां पर अंडर यूटिलाइजेशन है. तो अंडर यूटिलाइजेशन वाली केस है, तो यहाँ ओवर यूटिलाइजेशन वाला केस भी है. For example, you can see here that the states where Telangana, Punjab, West Bengal, Haryana, so these are those states where enrolled students are really high as compared to the number of schools, right? So you can see here that there are fewer schools. There are fewer schools compared to the enrolled students, which basically indicates higher student density per school, right? So this is the overall scenario of the enrolled students in our country. Now we are talking about enrolled students, so it is very important to us that we should also cover the gross enrollment ratio, right? What is the pupil to teacher ratio? अभी हमने schools के अंदर देखा कि appropriation कितना है, कैसे students यहाँ पर हैं हमारे schools के अंदर, but कितना enrollment है उनकी age के according. So this is also required to be covered, and that is our next parameter, that is of enrollment. तो अगर हम बात करते हैं स्कूल एनरोलमेंट की, ओवरऑल व्हेन वी कंपेयर इट फ्रॉम द लास्ट ईयर, इट इज 37 lakhs डाउन. दैट मींस इफ we can say that you can see here guys, when we talk about the number of people who were enrolled in the school in the previous year, right, now it has decreased by 37 lakhs. That means 37 lakhs people have dropped out from the school, right? And when we compare this 37 lakhs, so the composition of male and female students among these 37 lakhs, 16 lakhs are girls and 21 lakh are boy students. ठीक है, तो इतना ड्रॉप हुआ है बेसिकली पिछले, सॉरी, ड्यू टू स्लिप ऑफ टंग आई टोल्ड यू दैट कि उन्होंने ड्रॉप कर दिया. इट इज नॉट दैट पार्ट. So let me tell you that, let me give you a very clear example of that. Like 2022-23 के अंदर अगर हम बात करें, so let's take an example that 1 crore students were there, right? But in 2023 and 24, this particular number was 63 lakhs only. the number of students who got enrolled, right? So that is what basically there is a decrease in the enrollment of the students. Then now when we talk about the school enrollment, when we compare it with the 2018-19 level, guys, there is a decrease of 1 crore students, and it was Bihar where we have seen the maximum decrease. So Bihar has recorded the sharpest drop in the enrollment, followed by Uttar Pradesh. तो सबसे ज्यादा अगर हम बात करेंगे कि जो ड्रॉप है वो कहां पर आया है, बिहार के अंदर सबसे ज्यादा ड्रॉप आया है, followed by Uttar Pradesh. And when we compare it with the previous year, it is 37 lakh. When we compare it with 2017-18 level, it is 1 crore. Okay, 2018-19 level, it is 1 crore. Okay, now when we basically see the composition of girls and boys, so you can see here, guys, that in 23-24 and 22-23, total enrollment was 24.8 crore. As I already told you, around 24 crore students are there, right? Among them, 11.93 crore are basically the girls and 12.87 crore are boys. Okay, so boys are outnumbering the girls in terms of enrollment. Okay, in 22-23 you can see that the number was 25.17, where the girl students was 12.09 crore, boy students was 13.08 crores. Okay, so this data is really more important to be remembered from exam point of view. Now let's move on to the other important part, when we divide the students among the social categories. So here you can see, as they've already covered, that the maximum number of students are from which category? OBC category. So this is also been reflected in this table, like 23-24 के अंदर क्या है? Scheduled castes are 4.47 crores, scheduled tribes 2.46 crore, OBCs 11.2 crore. तो यहाँ पर आप सारा data याद नहीं कर सकते. It is not practically possible because we are already having a lot of other data to remember, right? तो यहाँ पर just एक चीज याद रखिए, OBC is having the highest number, that is 11.2 crores. Okay. And which category is having the lowest number? It is scheduled tribes at 2.46 crores. Just remember highest and the lowest part, right? So everything is not required to be remembered from here. Okay, so I provided you the important data about the girls and boys students, the total enrollment. Then social category wise also we have discussed it. Now let's move on to the gross enrollment ratio and the dropout rate. So guys, it compares, when we talk about the gross enrollment ratio, it is basically the number of students who have got enrolled into the school at their specific age, right? Now apart from that, what exactly was the total number of the students who should have been there as per the population of the country, but उसमें से एक certain number ही वहां पर enrolled है. As you can see, it compares the number of students enrolled at a specific education level to the population of age groups suited for that level, right? For example, let us take an example that in India 100 children are there, right? But out of these 100, only 66 children are there who have got themselves enrolled. But these 100 were eligible, but only 66 have enrolled themselves. So that means the gross enrollment ratio will be 66%. I hope this will make it more easier for you to understand it. ठीक है, सभी को समझ में आ जाएगा इससे. अब अगर हम बात करते हैं level of education और gross enrollment ratio, to the different levels of education, what is the gross enrollment ratio, right? So in the foundational level, it is 41.45. At the preparatory level, it is 96.5. At the middle level, it is 89.5. And secondary level, it is 66.5. So once again, where is the highest? The highest gross enrollment ratio is in the preparatory phase with 96.5%. Okay? So this is something we should remember from exam point of view. So very good morning everyone who have just joined us recently for this particular session. So this is the gross enrollment ratio and the dropout rate, right? Now guys, let's move on to the next important part, that is the pupil to teacher ratio. कि कितने number of students पर हमारे पास एक teacher है. That means एक teacher कितने students को पढ़ा रही हैं, right? So this is the pupil to teacher ratio and school infrastructure. So as per national education policy अगर हम बात करें तो NEP ने रिकमेंड किया कि जो pupil to teacher ratio है वो आपकी 30:1 रहनी चाहिए, right? बट यहाँ पर काफी ऐसे स्टेट्स हैं जहां पर ये जो रेशियो है कम है, कहीं पर ये काफी ज्यादा है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ यू टॉक अबाउट चंडीगढ़ एंड दिल्ली, दे आर हैविंग हाईएस्ट स्टूडेंट्स पर स्कूल, जहां पर जो पीपल टू टीचर रेशियो है बेसिकली दैट इज अंडर द RTE नॉर्म्स, ठीक है, बट स्टिल दे आर हैविंग हाई स्टूडेंट्स. But when we see the states like Assam, Jharkhand, Karnataka, Odisha, they are having fewer students per school, right? So basically their student density is low. In the Chandigarh and Delhi, the student density is high, but it is under the within the RTE norms. So this is something we can remember, and apart from that, very important thing is the ratio which has been given. Pupil to teacher ratio is 30:1 for effective interactive learning as per the NEP 2020 standards, right? So please try to remember that particular part. So guys, with this we are done with all the important details of UDISE plus report for year 22-23 and 23-24. तो यहाँ पर हमने काफी चीजों को डिस्कस किया. DOESL is the organization under Ministry of Education which has launched this particular report. ठीक है, for the very first time we have started focusing on what? On the individual student. तो individual student पे हमने पहली बार यहाँ फोकस किया है. पीपल टू टीचर रेशियो की बात करें तो दैट इज 30:1. इसके अलावा ग्रॉस एनरोलमेंट रेशियो, मैक्सिमम नंबर ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स की हमने बात की तो दैट इज फ्रॉम द ओबीसी कैटेगरी 45% स्टूडेंट्स आर देयर. अगर हम बात करते हैं स्कूल एनरोलमेंट में तो कितना डिक्रीज हुआ है? 37 लाख का डिक्रीज हुआ है. सो एक नटशेल, इन अ नटशेल आई हैव ऑलरेडी अगेन ब्रीफ्ड यू द होल रिपोर्ट. नाउ गाइस लेट्स मूव ऑन टू द अदर न्यूज आर्टिकल्स. So the next news article is about the National Turmeric Board. So National Turmeric Board, guys, let me tell you that India is one of the largest exporter and producer of the turmeric. And let me tell you that last year, 70% of the global production basically is been from India only. The 70% of the total global production of turmeric across the world, it is from India only. And that's why it was really required, guys, that we should have a proper turmeric board. And we all know the medicinal qualities of the turmeric board. So that is why the government of India just decided, so why not we just create a kind of board which will be working for the welfare of the farmers which are involved in the production of turmeric. And apart from that, why not we take some steps in order to increase the productivity of the turmeric as well in our country. So here that is why the National Turmeric Board has been recently constituted. And who will be the first chairperson? As the board has been recently constituted, we should cover the chairperson as well. So the first chairperson will be PG Reddy. ठीक है, PG Reddy will be the first chairperson of the National Turmeric Board, and we are also having a secretariat to this board. The secretariat of this board will be in Nizamabad, which is there in the Indian state of Telangana. तो तेलंगाना के अंदर है निजामाबाद, which will be the headquarter of this board. तो कैसे याद कर सकते हो कि T for टर्मरिक एंड T for तेलंगाना. ठीक है, इस तरीके से याद कीजिए. इसका सेक्रेटेरिएट कहां होगा? दैट मींस हेडक्वार्टर कहां होगा? इन तेलंगाना, निजामाबाद. ओके, so when we talk about this board, guys, it is going to focus on overall development and growth of turmeric sector. टर्मरिक सेक्टर को हम कैसे बढ़ा सकते हैं, कैसे उसकी प्रोडक्टिविटी एनहांस कर सकते हैं. So this is something. Then welfare of turmeric farmers, as I already told you, this board will be focusing its attention on how we can take different steps for the welfare of the farmers which are involved in the production of the turmeric. Then research and development is also very important, how we can increase the yield and boost the productivity of the turmeric production in our country. Then we can also focus on the related products to the turmeric for marketing. See guys, when we are exporting the turmeric, right, as I already told you, 70% of the global production of turmeric is from India only. So that means India is also exporting it, and India is one of the largest exporter of turmeric. So that is why it is very important that we are having a good marketing strategy so that we can present our turmeric products in front of the whole world. Then we are having different ways to its yield and boost logistics and supply chain to foster trade into the newer markets. So this is something we should remember. Please remember, National Turmeric Board, the first chairperson will be PG Reddy, and what is the headquarter? That is Nizamabad in Telangana. That is the right answer. Going to the next news article, that is CDOT and IIT Delhi has signed an MOU. So the Center for Development of Telematics, which is basically under the Department of Telecommunication, it has signed an MOU with IIT Delhi. Now why this MOU has been signed, guys? We all know that right now you all are watching this particular session with your 5G connections and your mobile sets, right? But what will be the next part? After 4G it was 5G, then after 5G it will be 6G. So for the proper deployment of the electronic devices for the 6G, that is the 6th generation, this particular MOU has been signed. So you can see here that the aim for this MOU is to develop building blocks for terahertz communication front ends. ठीक है, जो फ्रंट एंड है उसकी डिप्लॉयमेंट की जाएगी, डेवलपमेंट की जाएगी, ठीक है, उन बिल्डिंग ब्लॉक्स की. व्हाट इज दिस टेराहर्ट्ज? टेराहर्ट्ज इज बेसिकली अ यूनिट ऑफ फ्रीक्वेंसी with 10 to the power 12. ठीक है, I have just given you some additional information here. if you're able to grasp it, that is really good. But in the exam, there is very less probability that it will be asked. Okay. So now the agreement is signed under the Telecom Technology Development Fund 6G call. Guys, 6G call. We are already planning to work for 6G, right? So we all know that after 5G it will be 6G. So 6G के लिए अभी से काम करना काफी जरूरी है, तभी हम उस पर अच्छे से ट्रांजिशन कर पाएंगे from 5G to 6G. So that is why under this call this agreement has been signed, and under this part we will be accelerating the research and development for the 6G devices, for developing 6G ecosystem as well. And this has been signed as a part of the Bharat 6G vision, in which we are aiming to design, develop and deploy 6G network technologies. So very important point, guys, the MOU signed between CDOT and IIT Delhi, right? Let's move on to the next question. So next news article, that is Cyber Security Grand Challenge. So guys, Cyber Security Grand Challenge 2.0 has been recently launched, and let me tell you that we all know that right now we are also having the ambitious target of Digital India, and we are converting everything into the digital mode, right now you are watching this session in the digital mode. So it is very important that our whole system is cyber secure as well, it is secure as well, right? So to enhance the cyber security, this Grand Challenge 2.2 has been launched. This is the second edition of this challenge. So it has been launched by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, which has launched the second edition of the Cyber Security Grand Challenge. It will be implemented by Data Security Council of India, and it will strengthen the nation's cyber security. As I told you, cyber security का challenge है, तो क्या करेगा? Enhance करेगा cyber security को इंडिया के अंदर, ठीक है? और कौन इसको इंप्लीमेंट करेगा? डेटा सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया. हमारा डेटा काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है, वो सिक्योर रहना चाहिए, तो इसलिए हमने एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को बना दिया. वी क्रिएटेड एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन टू कीप आवर डेटा सिक्योर एंड प्रोटेक्टेड, and that organization is Data Security Council of India. That is the right answer, very easy to remember. Then guys, there will be total 4 stages in this particular challenge, that is idea, minimum viable product, final product stage and the go to market stage. These are the 4 stages in this particular challenge. There will be 6 different problems which will be given to the people who will be participating in this particular challenges, and throughout the whole challenge the startups which are participating in this challenge, they will be provided proper mentorship and guidance so that they can scale up their ventures. Okay, so that is something we can cover. Now let's move on to the next news article, that is India Meteorological Department. Guys, a milestone this organization has achieved, as it has recently completed its 150 years. Okay, so IMD has completed its 150 years of its establishment. It was established on 14th of January 1875. So 14 January 1875 को ये establish हुआ था, and now it has just completed its 150 years of its establishment. So it was been there under the Ministry of Earth Sciences, and it has been launched under the Ministry of Earth Sciences. आप सभी जानते हैं guys IMD का कितना important role है, as it provides us a critical data about the weather, the climate services. आजकल हम कभी अपनी कोई वेकेशन प्लान करते हैं, राइट? तो उस टाइम पर हम देखते हैं कि वहां पर वेदर कैसा रहेगा, वेदर द जर्नी विल बी स्मूथ और नॉट, राइट? अगर वेदर खराब है तो वी बेसिकली पोस्टपोन आवर वेकेशंस और द आवर ट्रिप्स टू द डिफरेंट प्लेसेस. तो यहाँ पर IMD इज दैट पर्टिकुलर organization which provides us that data, which helps us to plan our own things, right? And it plays a vital role in disaster management, agriculture, aviation, public safety. तो हर एक चीज के लिए आपका जो वेदर है वो काफी इंपॉर्टेंट है, and that's how it is very very important organization for the whole nation, right? तो कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट फैक्ट्स यहाँ पर आपके लिए हैं कि जो इंडिया मीटरोलॉजिकल डिपार्टमेंट है वो पहली ऑर्गेनाइजेशन थी इंडिया के अंदर which was having a message switching computer for supporting its global data exchange. ठीक है, so basically global level पे भी वो data exchange करती है, और उसके लिए उस data exchange के लिए it was the very first organization of our country which was having its own message switching computer, right? Apart from that guys, there is another important point about India, that India was the first developing country in the world जिसके पास अपना geostationary satellite INSAT system था, ठीक है, so that we can continuously monitor the weather of the part of the globe and particularly for cyclone warning. So guys, अगर मैं आपको बात करूं, so when it was been established in 1875, before that in 1865, 66 there were so many events, और कहीं पर कोई साइक्लोन आ रहा था, कहीं पर कोई और ऐसा इवेंट हो रहा था. So basically that time it was been decided कि we should have a proper organization which will be providing us the critical weather and climate conditions data. That's why IMD was being established on 14th of January in 1875. काफी बेसिक न्यूज है, ठीक है. 1875 में लॉन्च किया था, 150 इयर्स कंप्लीट किए हैं. Now let's move on to the next news article, that is Indian Army Day 2025. तो guys Indian Army Day हम हर 15th जनवरी को भी सेलिब्रेट Indian Army Day, ठीक है. And this year the parade will be taking place in Pune, Maharashtra. The theme for this year is Samarth Bharat Saksham Sena. Samarth Bharat Saksham Sena is the theme for year 2025 of Indian Army Day. When we talk about the January 15, guys, it is really very significant date. Why? Because it was the time when the first Indian basically took the command of Indian Army, and that particular person was General K.M. Cariappa, who also became the field marshal on the lateral basis, right? So he took over the command of the Indian Army from General Sir F.R.R. Busher, who was the last British commander-in-chief in 1949. Now, one question for all of you. You have to tell me that what is the name of the Chief of Army Staff right now? At present, who is the Chief of Army Staff? Please try to give me the right answer about this in the chat box of this particular discussion. ठीक है, इस सेशन के चैट बॉक्स में या कमेंट सेक्शन में आप मुझे बताइए कमेंट करके कि who is presently serving as the Chief of Army Staff. So this was the last news article of the today's session, and now it's a time to move on to the MCQs. So अभी हम करेंगे MCQs को. तो अभी तक I was giving you the whole information and I was teaching you the whole information. Now it's a time you have to show me the result, that whether you are able to answer the question on the basis of our today's discussion or not. And today I'm not having many questions. This is the very first question on UDISE plus report. So you have to identify the statements which are correct here. So 3 statements are being given. So you have to first focus on the keywords, then you have to try to identify the correct statement. Okay. First statement, Aadhaar seeding jo thi in India has a national average of 79.4%. where Andaman and Nicobar Islands is having the highest percentage. So what do you think, whether the statement is right or wrong? The statement is absolutely right. It was Andaman and Nicobar which is on the top, right? Now when we talk about the states like Telangana, Punjab, Delhi have underutilized utilization of schools due to the more schools being available than the percentage of students enrolled. Okay? So basically, as we have already discussed, guys, about this particular part, the states of Telangana, Punjab and Delhi, they are not in the category of underutilization of schools, they are in the category of overutilization of the schools, as the student density is really high there. So this statement is absolutely incorrect. Third statement, school enrollment in India decreased by 1 crore compared to the 2018-19 level. Absolutely right. And when we compare it with the previous year level, there was a drop of 37 lakhs. So this statement is absolutely right. Right answer will be option B, that is 1 and 3 only. I can see here that most of the people have given me the right answer, that is option B to this particular question. अगर आप still इस question का answer नहीं कर पाए हैं, do not worry. I am having a homework question for all of you. और जिन्होंने इसका आंसर किया है उनके लिए भी है, जिन्होंने नहीं किया उनके लिए भी है, ये सभी स्टूडेंट्स के लिए है. और ये आपको एक अपॉर्चुनिटी प्रोवाइड करेगा कि आप स्टाफ परफॉर्मर बन सकते हैं हमारे आज के सेशन के. तो ये क्वेश्चन आपके सामने है ऑन द यूडीआईसी प्लस रिपोर्ट. आपको आइडेंटिफाई करना है कि कौन से स्टेटमेंट्स करेक्ट हैं अक्रॉस डिफरेंट थिंग्स दैट वी हैव डिस्कस्ड इन द टुडेज सेशन. दिस पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन हैज बीन फ्रेम्ड. यू हैव टू pause this slide after the conclusion of the session and then you have to try to answer this particular question. Okay, so when we talk about the homework question of previous session, this was the question which was on United Nations Committee of Experts on Big Data and Data Science for Official Statistics, as India has joined this committee and we were required to identify the correct statements here. The right answer was option A, that is only 1 and 2. And the star performers from the previous sessions are Shivangi, Aditya, then Shruti, Nana, Ashish, Varman, Aditya, Amit, Shubham, then we have Leela, Guru Raj is there, then Sashmita, Sayantan, Vedant, Dream Master, Creative Alert, Mansi, Bhavna, Suraj. So I am really glad to see that all of you are really doing well and you are able to answer the question correctly. That shows that your understanding level has really been made at a certain level, and we will be enhancing this level and keeping up the momentum, and we will enhancing this particular level to another higher level so that in the exam you will become just totally unbeatable. Okay, so guys, that is all from the today's session, and if you are still new to our YouTube channel, kindly subscribe to it and press the bell icon to receive all the latest updates of the courses and videos offered by us और साथ साथ अगर आपको सेशन का पीडीएफ चाहिए तो उसके लिए हमारा टेलीग्राम चैनल है. You can join the Telegram channel to access the PDF of the session, the link to which is in the description. So guys, I hope that today's session was really useful and fruitful to all of you, and you must have liked this session, and I will keep on coming up with such more sessions. If you are having any queries related to the session, please feel free to post your queries in the comment section or ask your queries in the chat box. Otherwise, you can also share your queries at hello@edutap.co.in. In case you need some mentorship guidance, guys, we are already there for you. We have got your back. You can always call us at 814-620-7241. So guys, that was all from the today's session, and I will be now meeting you in the next session. Till then, stay happy, stay healthy.